Well, I have to admit, when I first saw this exhaust pipe here, a manifold, coming out of the head with no joint between it there, no apparent joint, I wondered how it all attached and how it came apart. There's two nuts go on. It's a common intake exhaust manifold, so it looks like one casting. Well, when I was undoing the bolts, the ratchet was hitting it and it started to wiggle. Now, I've had penetrating oil on these for the past week, so I think she'll just slide right off. Yep. There we go. Look at all the crud in there. Yeah. Could just be like, you know, surface rust flaking off of the manifold, but seems like an awful lot of it. But, yeah, like my old Husky ratchet set there. Fits in a metal box. The thing's like 50 years old. Belonged to my father. I'm still using it. I've only broke a couple sockets over the years, but you know, that was me getting stupid on things like car differentials and stuff like that. It's real tight, but since then I've learned most of my lessons, and now I get out a half-inch drive 18 or 24-inch power bar for such applications instead of trying to use a little 8-inch ratchet. But when you're at a scrapyard or a wrecking yard and you need a part off, you use what you got sometimes, and you're not always successful. So anyway, I guess it's time to... I guess I could pull these covers off there. More Wisconsin VE4 mysteries revealed here. I removed the cover off of this one here. Looks to me like I got another stuck exhaust valve, since I can stick my finger there in between the lifter and the valve. So I hear these engines do valves like to stick on them, and that's a reason you don't try to force them to turn over if they're stuck like this one, because the camshaft is the full length of the engine. It doesn't have bearing in the center, so you get a valve that's stuck. It's trying to push the camshaft sideways and bend it, and fairly easy to break, I guess. So just something to keep in mind if you ever encounter one of these and it doesn't want to turn over. Don't force it until you peel a cylinder or head or both off to have a look. I just started taking off the bolts that hold the two-cylinder unit to the block there, and sure enough, Super Connor there, one of my YouTube friends, been friends for 5 years or so, he was right. Some of these bolts are real fun to get at. Center one here, there's barely enough room for the wrench. You can get a little bit of a swing on it, but not much. But see, this next one here is going to be a joy. Looks like I have to take the whole big cooling shroud off there, so I guess that'll be my next task. But yeah, thanks for your advice there, Connor. I appreciate that. I guess he's got like 5 of these engines, some of which were all 4 cylinders were seized in. But see, I grew up with one of these sitting in my garage. It's a gray colored one on a ice cutter with a 4-foot diameter blade on it. I'll try to get some video of that later this summer. But I used to crank it over, so I know it wasn't seized. But I never tore anything down. We actually had the owner's manual for it and that, and I used to read it and look at it, so I knew a bit of the construction of the motors. But no, it's a different matter 40 years later when you actually have one of them in front of you and you're trying to tear it down. Well, that didn't take long. I encountered a technical difficulty here on this, getting this nut undone. The wrench is too long to fit. Sheet metal cover's in the way. However, I got a extra flywheel that's welded on. So consequently, the main flywheel is not going to come off to let me remove the sheet metal shroud. And it looks to be one piece all the way across from what I can see. And not wanting to get out a Sawzall and cut this shroud into 3 or 4 pieces, just because you know, that's not the type of thing I do to engines if I can help from doing it. I guess I'm going to have to sacrifice a 5/8 inch wrench, cut it short enough that I can get it in there and pound on it with a hammer to break it loose. So far the other ones are broken loose. I've snugged them back up so I don't warp the casting. You don't want it to sit with one tight bolt on it for a couple days at a time. It could warp it. So the other thing I do here that I'll point out, screw the nuts and washers back on where you take them off. That way you don't have to have an elephant-sized memory to remember where everything goes. And taking video of it helps also. But yeah, the other bolts there's 3 along the bottom and 2 on the top. They've all undone just fine. The person that put this engine together used a real good idea. They used anti-seize on the head bolts, and I think I'll be anti-seizing all the bolts on this. So far everything's come off pretty good, but can't hurt to continue it that way. Well, I didn't look forward to chopping off my 5/8 inch wrench there, but every once in a while sacrifices have to be made. So, we'll see what happens when we hit it with a persuader here. Of course it ran into something else, but anyways, I think she broke loose, so I'll continue on and try to undo it there.